Hi guys! Today we are going to draw and color a pumpkin using oil pastels and a blending technique to make our picture look 3D. So you're going to make sure you have all your materials ready. You'll need a black piece of construction paper, your pencil and eraser, your oil pastels, and a damp paper towel or a baby wipe. Make sure this doesn't touch your paper, but keep it close by, keep it handy. If you don't have oil pastels, you can use crayons, but I recommend that you use the red-orange crayon instead of the orange crayon because it will show up better on your black construction paper. So let's go ahead and start out by drawing the shape of our pumpkin. We are going to create the outline that will show us the edges of our object, which is a pumpkin today. We want to make sure that our pumpkin fills the page. That means we are going to draw it very big, almost edge to edge on the paper. Doesn't have to be a circle because pumpkins aren't completely round. And we want to make sure we leave a little bump at the top, almost like a heart shape, so that we have a place to put our stem. So now that we have the shape of our pumpkin, we're going to draw two curved lines for the stem. They're going to curve away from each other. Away from each other. Make sure you can see this on the screen. Make my pencil line a little bit darker for you. Now, when we put a line on top of the stem, if we put a straight line, then this stem is going to look flat, like a piece of paper. We want it to look round. So in order to make this look more 3D, instead of putting a straight line, we're going to draw a skinny little oval. So I'm going to put my pencil right there on the line of my stem, and I'm going to do a curve and back around again like a skinny little oval. See the oval shape there? All right, now I want this pumpkin to look like it has a back side. So I'm going to put my pencil on the top of the pumpkin here and draw another curved line to the stem. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Start my pencil here, and I'm going to go around and stop at the stem. So now it looks like our pumpkin has another side to it, the side that we can see, and the part of the pumpkin that's behind it. All right, now we're going to draw the lines on the pumpkin, the contour lines that are going to show us that this pumpkin is round in shape. If we put straight lines, it's going to look like stripes. We want our pumpkin to look like we could put our hands around it and pick it up right out of the picture. I'm going to put my pencil right here. This is where the stem meets the pumpkin shape. And I'm going to draw a curved line in the same direction as this side of the pumpkin. Starting here, curved line all the way down. Same thing on the other side. This time, the outline goes this direction. So we're going to create our contour line in this direction too. So we put our pencil right there on the stem and we draw a curved line down to the bottom of the pumpkin. It's starting to look a little more 3D. All right, let's put a couple more ridges on our pumpkin. I'm going to do one right here, curving the same way as the left-hand side here. And another one on this side, curving in this direction. There we go. All right, we are almost ready to color. But first, we need to give our pumpkin a place to sit. Right now, he's kind of just floating in the air, and we want him to sit in the grass. If we draw a line under our pumpkin, it's just going to look like it's teetering on the edge of a straight line. We want it to look like it's sitting on the ground. So we're going to put in what we call the horizon line. The horizon line is the line where the ground meets the sky. So when you look out your window, you see as far as you can, you'll see that there is a line where the sky meets the ground. We're going to draw that right here. So I'm going to go about halfway up. I'm going to put my pencil on the edge of my pumpkin and draw a line to the edge of the paper. I'm going to go all the way over to the other side, and I'm going to do the same thing. And if your lines are not the same on both sides, if one's up here and one's down here, that's okay. Sometimes we have hills in the background. So now we have the sky and the ground divided by the horizon line. Okay, let's do a little bit of changes on the bottom here so that our pumpkin has some more bumps where these ridges are. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw a round line, just like a little bump, rounding it off right here at the bottom. Bump, bump, bump. There we go. Okay, now if you want to make it a little cleaner when we color it, you can erase those lines that we drew first that were a little straight. I'm just going to see how much I can get rid of so it doesn't show through my orange oil pastel. Just gently erase those. All right, now I'm going to start off with my black oil pastel. We're going to create the dark contour lines on the pumpkin. So I'm just going to use my black oil pastel to cover up my pencil lines. So it's basically like redrawing. Cover up the pencil as best you can. It might shine through just a little bit, and that's okay. So I'm going to go all the way around the shape of my pumpkin. It's easier if you can pretend that each of these is its own shape. Like go around it like it's one shape connected to the others. Go around like those little bumps there. Next one, down and around. Last one, down and around. All right, can't forget these little bumps in the back. And our horizon line. There we go. All right, so now that we've traced all of our pencil lines with the black, we are going to get our orange. You want to find the orange, not the yellow orange, but the orange. Now I've already used my orange, and if you can see on here, it's got a little bit of mucky colors on it. That's what our baby wipes are for. So if you want to color clean orange without other stripes of color, then you take your baby wipe and you sort of twist your oil pastel in it until it's nice and clean. And rub off some of that black that's already on there. Now we're going to get it dirty. We're going to get it black when we start coloring in here, but that's okay. I just don't want to use a different color that it touched. So I'm just going to start coloring it in. You don't want to go over the black. You just want to go next to it. And it is going to smear a little bit. That's okay. We want it to smear a little bit. Churn your paper as you need to so that you're not putting your hand on top of those oil pastels. I'm turning my paper this way so that my hand is not on my paper. We've talked a lot about ways that we can color neatly. One of those things was to make sure that your arm is on the table. We never color with our whole arm. We only color with our hand. So we have more control over where our color goes. Another thing we talked about was coloring in the direction of the line. So if my line is curving this way, that's the direction I'm going to color. If I color it this direction, I'm going to smear that black all over the place. So we always want to draw slowly around the edges of our shape, slowly and carefully. And then when we get to the middle, we can go just a little faster. Keep control of where your color goes by only using your hand to color, not your whole arm. All right, I'm gonna keep turning this so that my hand is not rubbing on the oil pastels. You're gonna see a little bit of the black paper through the color, and that's okay. What we don't want is giant scribble marks. So coloring it like this, that's not gonna work. We want it to be solid so that we can have this beautiful pumpkin with highlights and shadows. Keep coloring your pumpkin until the whole thing is filled in with orange. Go really slowly, carefully around the edges, a little faster in the middle. Slowly around the edges. See, I'm coloring around the shape. I'm following the direction of the line so I don't color outside of the line. Just keep filling it in. If your oil pastel gets flat down to the paper, just like a crayon, then you can just peel that paper right off. All right, I got a good, nice outline here. I can start going a little faster in the middle. Just want to make sure I don't go too crazy outside the lines. Cover up that black paper as best you can. Almost there. Almost done. Keep working with me. Keep coloring. Once we get our pumpkin all colored in, we're gonna do a little bit of blending. Blending just helps all of the colors mix together so it doesn't look so much like a cartoon or a coloring book. Very carefully around those edges. Oh, my pastel's getting low. I'd have to get that paper off of there. Just rip it off. There we go. It's okay to take the paper all the way off, but you are going to get messy fingers. See, I already have a lot of black on mine. But that's what the baby wipes or the wet paper towel are good for too. They clean off your fingers better than soap and water. Still working on my orange. If you're done with your orange, just be patient and wait for me. I catch up to you. I hope you drew big. I hope you drew a big, big pumpkin. I gotta turn my paper again. I really don't want to smear it. It's looking so nice. Okay. I think that about does it. Now, if you get little chunks of the oil pastel, don't brush it off with your hand. You can tap your paper or you can gently blow on it. All right, now I'm going to get my brown. I'm going to color in my stem. I don't want to rub my hand on the orange and black, so I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going to turn it this way, and the same thing. I'm going to color right around the edges first, right up against the black, not on top of it. Color in the same direction as your line. You guys are so good at staying in the line. I know you're going to do a great job. And, ooh, see if I can get in this skinny spot without smearing the black too much. There we go. That's all we need of the brown. Oh, you know what we need to draw is a shadow. A shadow is going to help our pumpkin look more 3D also. So here's what it looks like when it's all done. You see these white marks here? This is where the moonlight is shining on my pumpkin. So my moon is over here, and the light is shining on the pumpkin, creating like little highlights where it's a lot brighter. But the moonlight can't get to the ground over here because the pumpkin's in the way. So the light shines on the pumpkin blocks the light and makes a shadow on the ground behind it. And I want you to notice also that this shadow is round just like the pumpkin because it is the pumpkin's shadow. So let's create that real quick. Take your pencil. I want you to go a little bit past the middle of your pumpkin and a curved line all the way to the edge of the paper. Then we're going to start on this side of the pumpkin and we're going to curve it down. Now our shadow isn't all the way in the picture frame. It's not all on the paper, and that's okay because we don't have to see everything inside the frame of the picture. Just like when you draw a sun in the corner of your picture sometimes. All right, let's take our black and go over that shadow. And then we can color it in. Try to keep those bumps at the bottom of your pumpkin. Keep it nice and round down there. Color in your shadow all the way. Be so careful not to put your hand where you've already colored because it will smear and get super messy. This is a really black. It shows up really well on this black construction paper. Makes the construction paper look gray. Okay, now let's get our green and we'll color the grass. Same thing, all the way up to the black line. And try not to cross the line. Be very careful on your edges. Slowly, 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 and a little bit faster. All right, that's nice and bright. Go all the way around your shadow. And see, I crossed over into the black just a little bit right here, but that's okay because we are actually going to do a little bit of blending right there. Oil pastels can be super duper messy, but boy, do they look cool. Especially when you're trying to do highlights and shadows and make things look 3D. All right, keep turning my paper so I don't smudge my beautiful pumpkin. All the way around the edges, almost there. All right, now I can go a little faster. See, the edge of the paper goes this way. So I'm going to color this way. So I'm not getting my table too dirty. All right, now the edge of the paper goes this way. So I'm going to color in that direction. Oopsie, hold my paper down better. Try to fill in all those scratch marks. We don't want to look like scribbles. We want to get it as solidly colored as we can. Almost there, almost there. Done. All right. Wow, look how bright those pastels are. Okay, now here comes the blending. I'm going to use the baby wipe on my fingers. Okay, make sure your hands are nice and dry. You're going to take your pointer finger and you're going to put it on the black line of your pumpkin, and you are going to gently drag your finger along that line. You can see that it's sort of blurring it. I'm going to do it one more time. Gently, gently. Don't rub back and forth. Just drag your finger on top of that black line. We're going to do that to every black line on our pumpkin. You see the difference? It really blends it in so that it's not such a hard coloring book like line. Look at that. Oil pastels are messy, but I think it's so much fun. It's one of my favorite parts about art, is getting messy. Gently, gently, gently. Notice how I'm not rubbing back and forth. I'm just dragging my finger. All right, we can do the same thing on the stem. It's like you're redrawing, but with your finger. Let's do it to the grass line and the shadow. All the way around the edge, just kind of making it look a little fuzzy. Awesome. All right, now that we have our shadows, we want to clean the black off of our fingers. So we're going to add some white for the highlights. Rub it all off of your pointer finger. Clean pointer finger. Make sure it's dry. Let's get our white. My white is all orange and black because I've already done this pumpkin and I had to color on top of that. Make sure there are no other colors on your white. If you have used your white oil pastel before and it's got blue or green or purple on it, you want to make sure you use your damp paper towel or your wipey to clean off the tip. Nice clean tip. Okay, so remember our moon is shining from this direction. That's where our shadow is, on the opposite side. So now we're going to put some highlights to shine on the pumpkin. We're going to start with a little curved line right on top of the stem. Just a little curved line, like the letter C. Then we're going to do a curved line on the stem here, right next to the black. All right, now we're going to fill in this. The light is shining bright right here. And we're going to go down a little bit on this side of the pumpkin, right on top of our orange. Back and forth. A little bit on this one too, because it is also getting a lot of moonlight in that direction. Now the stem is blocking the moonlight from this side of the pumpkin, so we don't need to put any highlights over there. All right, got some chunks. Get my chunks off first, and then we're going to blend in that white. Pointer finger, trace it right on top. Trace it. You're just smudging it and smearing it. Always go in the direction of the line. This is curved this way. We're going to wipe that way. Smear it in. There we go. I think it could use a little bit more. You can just decide how much highlight you want on your pumpkin. I'm going to put just a little bit more over here. It's really getting the moonlight right on top of it. All right, go back in. I'm going to rub that again, just gently. There we go. all done. I hope you enjoyed making a 3D pumpkin with me today. See you next time.